And definitely the school days were the best days of my life. No major tension, just pure focus on learning new things. I was hit hard at that moment. I got to know the harsh reality of our education system. Literally, I felt like I was one of the academic robots designed to cram things and then vomit them perfectly during the exam. Despite my branch, I kept working on electronics in the background. I said, okay, forget about the IIT tag, what the people will think and say. Let's focus and do on what we love. And hell yeah, I actually got its wonderful returns. What an irony. So basically the same guy who can't get into any IITs is now admitted in the world's top 200 ranking university in Canada. So believe and prove yourself. You were never inferior or worthless. It was just our stupid education system making it seem like so. We dream of Make in India, but it's a sad reality that there is no major full-scale semiconductor manufacturing facility in India. So we are lagging almost 20 years behind the cutting-edge technology in the world. So here we go, and I quote that our semiconductor dream was sabotaged by red tape, lack of infrastructure, bureaucratic lethargy, corruption, and lack of visionary leadership. We have missed the bus several times, and for reasons that are unpardonable. Focus on this harsh word, that is unpardonable. The author has used it to reflect the seriousness of the situation. Also, the animation industry is a rapidly growing domain which is projected at a CAGR of 12% or more, which sounds lucrative, because ultimately I know that somewhere this topic will be helpful to someone, if not for all. Hey, welcome to Electrohouse YouTube channel. I am Daniyal Qureshi. Today is 31 May. Our channel has completed 4 years on YouTube. During this journey, we have seen many ups and downs, but overall, at least we managed to survive, and that's what matters. So, on this great occasion, we'll have some interesting discussions. First, for the first time, about my background or my life story, just to give you a small glimpse. Second, there is a very special announcement for you guys. Third is what I call as big plan or my future plan. And fourth and the final one is actually the channel trajectory and its growth. So as always, without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay, so about my life story, I'm condensing it as much as possible to keep it short and crisp. So I was a science crazy kid in school, fascinated by technologies and their secrets at Gandhi City Public School, Wardha. Yes, my majority of my time actually went in Wardha. In fact, I was so good at science that I almost always topped in science exams. While in the school, I used to hate maths because usually in the school, teachers actually teach you the standard formulas and procedures and not about its significance in real life, like how to implement it or at least teach it practically. But anyways, at least I was average in maths. And definitely the school days were the best days of my life. No major tension, just pure focus on learning new things. After school, I decided to choose electronics as my future career. But you know what? A guy was refused admission in electronics branch in junior college, that is 11th and 12th, because supposedly he had less than 95% during his school time, despite his knowledge and experience in the field. And unfortunately, that guy was me. I was hit hard at that moment. I got to know the harsh reality of our education system. I was so damn sure that I would have been a more capable candidate, a more suitable candidate for the electronics field rather than others who were just toppers, just relying on marks rather than on passion or practical knowledge or conceptual knowledge. And that college was one of the best junior science college in Wardha, Janaki Devi Bajaj College of Science, now known as Bajaj College of Science. Nothing against the college. In fact, it was one of the best college having the most experienced faculties. My problem was actually with the education system. I was really saddened by that. Unfortunately, I had to compromise and so took CS or computer science instead, but later found that it actually helped to deepen my understanding about algorithms, especially in C++, which would actually help me in microcontroller programming later. Despite my branch, I kept working on electronics in the background, coding microcontrollers like Arduino Pro Mini with sensors for the first time. At the same time, I was under immense pressure to prepare for the IIT JEE, going to multiple tuitions, one regular tuition and second especially for the JEE. I swear, I must admit with immense regret that those 2 years of my life were the most boring, exhaustive and painful years. Literally, I felt like I was one of the academic robots designed to cram things and then vomit them perfectly during the exam. And the worst thing, is that I felt like I have to do the things the way majority is doing to not miss out anything, like dedicating entire time to studies, having nothing to do with practical or conceptual learning, giving hundreds and thousands of test series and this and that. If I don't do it, then I will be doomed or something. But as they say, that a person should do what he is made for. I felt terribly in JEE. It was not meant for a practical learner like me. At one point, just like others, I thought of taking a gap year to try my luck again in the JEE exam. But fortunately, my father gave me a very wise advice that do your best with what you have in your hand. I said, okay, forget about the IIT tag, what the people will think and say. Let's focus and do on what we love and can potentially excel in. Fortunately, at least I scored decent marks in CET and applied for colleges. This time, I was so determined about my branch that I only wanted electronics even if I had to choose any lower ranking private college, but was not willing to sacrifice my core interest at any cost. Luckily, I got a decent college, that is Government College of Engineering, Nagpur, which is just 62 kilometers from my home in Wardha. I know this because I used to ride with my bike and I actually calculated this. There, I took a personal oath that I will focus more on practical learning, like research work or project work. And hell yeah, I actually got its wonderful returns. Not only just in the terms of achievement and satisfaction, but also in the terms of recognition and respect. Now, I'll not count my achievements here. Most of it is already present on my social media and some portion of it also on the YouTube. And all in all, I can say that good times were back again during the period. But anyways, as I chose the path less traveled, believe me, it's really hard to self-motivate if you're doing something different than others. And also patience will test you during your journey because you'll not see the results instantaneously. It actually takes some time. And finally, in the month of August of last year, I graduated, landing up the second university topper position. Now, I'm not saying that I'm intelligent. Definitely, there are more intelligent people than me, having more memory capability than me. So then, why I landed up with this? Because typically in the first, second and third year, I was not even in the top rankers list of the university. So I personally believe that the reason was actually, the mode of examination was shifted to online due to the COVID reasons. And I think that was what gave me an advantage, because first there is the bulk questions that are asked, and the bulk questions are typically very easy questions which can be answered by almost everyone because you can easily search them. You already know what I can say, what I am actually saying. Okay, but apart from that, there is some deciding questions which will actually determine your rank. So for that, you must have knowledge. Okay, you must be aware of that. So they are actually more complex or rare. That's why it is very hard for normal students to answer them, and that's why I think it gave me a certain edge over others. And the second reason that I think is because the exam was objective and not subjective. Okay, so it actually eliminates any subjectiveness of evaluator during typical theory written exams. Okay, so now about the special announcement. Now, I already did this announcement much earlier on my social media, but not on this YouTube channel. So here we go. So the good news is that University of Ottawa in Ontario, Canada has offered me admission to their master's program in electrical and computer engineering for the fall 2022 session. That is this September of 2022. The process is under process and I will definitely update you if there is any change. What an irony. So basically the same guy who can't get into any IITs is now admitted in the world's top 200 ranking university in Canada. So believe and prove yourself. You were never inferior or worthless. It was just our stupid education system making it seem like so. You were actually quite capable, and now even more capable than ever. Okay, so about the big plan. This big plan is the biggest goal of my life that I dream of. This plan is aimed at solving the hardware dependency of our country, India, on other countries. Hardware mainly includes integrated circuits, sensors and devices. We dream of Make in India, but it's a sad reality that there is no major full-scale semiconductor manufacturing facility in India. Only small-scale experimental labs like in ISRO, DRDO and SCL make simple chips, not for mainstream consumer applications, but for exclusive applications like defense and space. Just to give you an idea, let's see the major global semiconductor players in the market. Here you can see the list of various different semiconductor companies, also listed by their country of origin. You can see that there are various different countries, but the thing here to notice is that you can see for the first we have a Taiwanese company, that is TSMC, is actually a semiconductor giant with having a whopping share of 54% of the global semiconductor market. That's actually huge. So you can say that more than 50% of the semiconductor chips actually come from TSMC. After that, we have the South Korean company, that is Samsung, having a share of 17%. Now, Samsung is a very good player in the memory business, like the flash memory business that we typically, utilize in SSDs and various, pen drives and other storage devices. And after that, we again have a Taiwanese company, that is UMC. And after that, we have global foundries from the United States of America, only 7% of the global market. We actually think that US is quite ahead, but in the field of pure semiconductor fabs, US is not ahead. Actually, Taiwan is quite ahead. You can see already we have seen two companies. And after that, the place is taken by SMIC, which is a Chinese corporation having share of 5%. And after that, the shares are negligible, so we'll consider just chill here. So contrary to the idea that Indians think that the Chinese chip dominate the market is not the right thing. According to this, Taiwan is actually the number one country and not China. But definitely due to the close proximity of India to China, most of the chips from the Chinese origin actually end up landing in India, and we use them in various different applications. So it is quite evident from this chart that there are only two countries which dominate this market, which is Taiwan and South Korea. They make majority of the semiconductors that we use today. And the thing to remember is that these two countries, that is Taiwan and South Korea, are technologically way ahead than China, because China actually makes lower quality chips. Not lower quality, I mean in the sense of the scale of transistor. Okay, so like they cannot make 5 nanometer technology, which is just a proprietary of TSMC. It is only available right now with TMC and Samsung as well, with TSMC claiming that they are ready for the next generation 3 nanometer technology. We can understand that this much dependence can be very dangerous. If something happens to Taiwan, if something happens to South Korea, you can see its drastic effects. Literally the world supply will be affected heavily. Okay, so now let's see the current technology of India to produce semiconductor chips. First comes the SCL, or Semiconductor Laboratory of India, which is also a government-owned organization, and it can produce 180 nanometers, 180 nanometer chips. And by the way, this technology was actually invented in 1999. After that comes the Sitar Society, or which is actually a society by the DRDO. It is actually a lab which can produce up to 100 nanometers. Okay, 100 nanometers, and this technology was invented in 2001. And last but not the least is the ISRO, which can currently make 65 nanometer technology. It is actually quite good for our country. Okay, 65 nanometers, and by the way, this tech was invented in 2002. So sadly, India is currently only able to make 20-year-old technologies like 180 nanometer, 100 nanometer and 65 nanometer. And that too on a very small scale and mostly for internal applications. So we are lagging almost 20 years behind the cutting edge technology in the world. That is 7 nanometer, 5 nanometer and upcoming 3 nanometer by the TSMC. Now we are so much behind countries like Taiwan. Now it is almost impossible to match them for many years to come. But at least we can try to alleviate this problem, and I genuinely want to make this gap as short as possible. Now let me tell you an interesting story about China and India. They both started almost the same in the 1980s. And rest is history. You already know that China is much ahead in the semiconductor domain as compared to India. And even as a matter of fact, Taiwan was also almost on the same grounds like India and China in those days. But now Taiwan is actually the leader in the world. I will not cover this story in detail because it is quite long, but I actually found a very interesting article on the internet whose link I'll post, and if you're interested enough, you can go and read it fully. Let's see the possible cause why India is lagging in the semiconductor industry. So there is a very good article by Kudi Shivaram in the Statesman, which I would like to share here, because I think that just his heading, just his title actually reflects what is the reality and probable causes for this problem. Okay, so here we go, and I quote that our semiconductor dream was sabotaged by red tape, lack of infrastructure, bureaucratic lethargy, corruption, and lack of visionary leadership. We have missed the bus several times and for reasons that are unpardonable. Focus on this harsh word, that is unpardonable. The author has used it to reflect the seriousness of the situation, the reality. And unpardonable means unforgivable for stupid reasons, for reasons which were not justified, not acceptable at all. By the way, the article is really good and you can check out that article. I have provided its link in the description below. Go and read it completely. Next, what are the major identified challenges? First is to build the necessary talent pool, highly skilled, dedicated and professional team, not like typical 9 to 5 mentality people. This is very hard thing, believe me, to find people having good practical knowledge of the related domain. You can probably get the answer by asking the HR of a multinational company. Second is the capital intensive industry. Semiconductor labs are very capital intensive investments, beyond imagination and capacity of an individual to establish. Minimum $4 billion USD or somewhere around 30,000 crores INR is required to start a small semiconductor facility. Now imagine that. However, it is always wise and possible to start small and involve in related business like PCB or sensors or actuators designing and manufacturing, and then finally progress towards the integrated circuits manufacturing. Now third is the government support. This industry relies heavily on the support from government in the form of various subsidies or facilities. This also includes political stability as well. And the fourth last identified challenge is the support and interest of public. This is the major factor which can make things happen or be abandoned completely. If they are not supportive enough, then even a big idea can be failed to implement. Electrohouse was one of the first steps that I took towards my goal. It is not just a channel, but is an ideology as well as an aspiration to achieve the ultimate goal. So this channel is meant to increase the practical knowledge of electronics in our students. Okay, so enough about my planned discussion. Now, what will be the timeline? So first, I'll complete my Masters of Engineering program of 2 years, and most importantly, I'll take anywhere between 2 to 4 years or maybe 5 years of job experience in the semiconductor industry or the related industry. After that, due to my big plan, definitely I'm not going to settle there. I will be back here and will start electronics in India, and mostly focusing on the Vidarbha region and probably seeing Nagpur as a future base. One thing very important that I want to mention is that research is very important before you start. You don't just want to shoot arrows in complete dark and hope that it hits the target. To build a perfect talent pool and research data, I am going to create a small research group. At most, 2 college-going undergrad students will get a chance to work with me as a research assistant. This research group will mostly function remotely for 2 years till my master's program ends. During the time, the group will focus on market research of the past, current and future technologies all over the globe as well as in India. Some of the research areas include semiconductors, second, sustainable energy generation as well as storage, and along with the battery technology, and especially focusing on longevity. Okay, and fourth one is the consumer electronics. Fourth is robotics and automation. There is a high possibility that these research recruits might be absorbed in any of my future ventures in electronics after completion of the term. So get ready, and I'll definitely put out the notice while the interview process begins. So what about Electrohouse Animation, my 3D animation firm that I started this year? Well, apart from electronics and technology, I am also interested in various creative works like 3D animation, art and documentary making. I started working on various 3D softwares from my school time, and so now I have a good experience as well as knowledge of it. Animation has a great power to express things in a very creative manner. As a matter of fact, 3D animation goes hand in hand with the engineering domain, as it is used extensively in product designing, concept visualization as well as 3D printing. For those who haven't seen it yet, let me show my 3D animated concept film that I launched this year.
Electrohouseanimation.com.
You can also know more about Electrohouse Animation by visiting the official website ehanimation.com to get a better idea. And now coming back. Also, the animation industry is a rapidly growing domain which is projected at a CAGR of 12% or more, which sounds lucrative. Now, CAGR is actually compounded annual growth rate, which is essentially how much the industry is growing in terms of percentage per year. Its active high demand ensures that a good amount of money can be made, which can be very strategic in terms of generating big funds for big plans, like my future electronic startup. EHA will focus first on producing its high quality in-house production short animated films to create a presence in the market. The next film is under progress, the script has been written, major character designing is also done. Meanwhile, a limited number of client projects will be served, like maximum 6 projects per year. Currently, I am the only person working at EHA. At the moment, there is no need for extra manpower, but in the future, definitely it will be needed. So get ready if you are good in 3D stuff. Now today's last topic, that is channel trajectory. Here is the interesting part. After researching about the interests and behavior of audience, I actually observed that there are two general kind of audiences. One is the general and second is the more professional audience. This is the reason no matter how good you make a video, it will not always be praised by everyone. Professional audience consists of highly interested and dedicated people who are either in the industry or will join it in the future. They are the ones searching for rare and complex topics, and they have the ability to sustain long duration videos as they already have prerequisite knowledge to understand. These are very few in number, obviously, and hence represent a very small group of audience, like only 5 to 10% at max. General audience consists of people who have mostly nothing to do with either electronics or technology as a potential career. Mostly, these are the people with non-technical domain or background. But there are many in the general audience who would like to understand technology out of curiosity or for general knowledge. The only condition that needs to be fulfilled is that the content must be slow paced, light hearted, not cramming complex technical things in the video. This is the majority audience type with definitely taking up more than 90% space. This is necessary as they watch documentaries partly for entertainment also. Making content for the general audience will also help my motto of spreading awareness and knowledge about electronics. And who knows, maybe it has enough potential to generate interest in them and they also enter into professional space. Also, for a new channel like this, it is very important to grab the attention of the general audience in a legit way to grow fast. So as you already know about my EHCS or EH classroom series, that is Electrohouse classroom series that I have already started, it is actually a part of the professional, audience type. Okay, and there will also be EH laboratory or something. I'm actually thinking of that in the future. So these two are actually made to please the professional audience more. Okay, professional audience or the people who actually take electronics seriously. Okay, apart from that, in the general audience type, I'm actually planning a series. Okay, a kind of documentary series, a short documentary series, in which we'll cover these topics in as simplicity as possible, and having all the qualities that I already mentioned, which are essential to please the general audience, like it must be light-hearted and various things. But still, I am not sure when I will launch the Unveiled series, but definitely the planning is going on, and whenever I'll get time, we will start this great series. This major difference is the reason I understood that I cannot please both of them at the same time. So I have to make both kinds targeted specifically to a particular demographic. So lastly, let's see the growth of our channel since its inception 4 years ago. So currently we have 857 subscribers, and here you can see the growth of our channel with respect to time. So for the first year, we can clearly see that our channel, the growth of our channel was quite steep and good. Okay, like we were gaining around, at May 31. Okay, at around May 31, 2019, 332. Okay, so around 330 or something. And for 2 years, we continued the same growth. But after that, we saw a sideways movement, not increasing that much. And even now, it is not increasing that much. Now there are multiple reasons behind that. First and foremost is mine, that I failed to maintain upload consistency. I was uploading quite less due to various reasons. The other is that the majority of my subscribers are not professional. They are mostly the general audience looking for some topic once in a while. And obviously, if I'm going to post such complex educational videos, then very small number of people will watch it. The third reason I feel that YouTube mostly supports entertainment channels over educational channels. I feel this because even after I started my high quality classroom series, I got very little response from the audience. Just to show you that I designed this series for an absolute beginner in electronics, covering the topics in proper sequence for better understanding. And definitely, it is meant for a person who is serious and will probably pursue electronics in future. Literally, like the last video which I posted got only around 50 views in the last 2 months. So you can imagine how low the views are. YouTube channels normally take about 1 year or max 2 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. And here we are after 4 years at just 875 subscribers. I suppose this fast growth only applies to popular genres like comedy or entertainment channels. Now, some of you might wondering that then if I'm getting low views, then what about my certain videos which have got high number of views? Yes, definitely there are some videos who have got organic views which are very high. For example, the power amplifiers video. But apart from that, in this Electrohouse Classroom series, we haven't got that much organic traction. The views that you are seeing was actually from my paid promotion, paid promotion on YouTube. And that was actually me finding new audience, in order to find new audience who follows the same interest as ours. So that's why I used it. But my conclusion is that the paid promotion is well and good for some big events, but not always, because it is actually costly, as well as its impact is not that much as compared to the organic growth on YouTube. The YouTube algorithm following your channel is actually better than you paying for your content. And this is obviously not good if you do it on regular basis. And that's why I finally decided to only use it when there is any big event. This actually disheartens me sometimes, which inevitably causes me to go away from content creation for some time. This, however, does not totally destroy my motivation for creating high quality content. And this is where I absolutely need support from you guys. You know how valuable your subscribers, your share is. Just sharing it to a right person can not only help him or her, but also help us build a quality community. I am now quite used to it and very well adapted. Now I do not keep any high expectations. I just believe on myself, just think about topics and their proper flow. Because ultimately, I know that somewhere this topic will be helpful to someone, if not for all. Thanks for the constant support towards me and this channel. Thanks for watching and see you there.